What's up, y'all? Anderson here to talk about the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Let's recap this meet. Just capped off, went down in Boston this Sunday. You know, it was a pretty good meet overall. I definitely probably had a little higher expectations. There were so many top names that were, competing there. And in previous years, in my opinion, I'll probably have to look really, really deep, but I thought that there were a lot better performances in previous years. But let's talk about what actually went down this year. Of course, the most high-profile event was the men's 60-meter dash. This is where we saw Noah Lyles, Trayvon Bromell, and Marcel Jacobs going head-to-head. I spoke about how the three of them are three of the fastest all-time in the men's 60-meter dash, top 10 all-time performances in terms of their personal best. Well, interesting way that it played out. In the final, we did see Noah Lyles. He got the win in 6.52 seconds ahead of Terrence Jones with his 6.57, while we saw PJ Austin 6.60, and then Marcel and Trayvon Bromell, they were kind of down in the pack, 6.63 and 6.64. Now, Noah Lyles, he, comfortably got through in the rounds, and then to get the win here, it's significantly slower than what he did last year, where he ran 6.44 seconds to get the win ahead of, I think it was Fred Curley was in that race and a couple other guys. Keem Blake was in that race as well. But 6.52, pretty strong performance considering he ran 6.62, I think, just about a week or so ago. So, he's not going to the World Indoor Championships. I think he said that, World Indoors doesn't, get much coverage and no one watches it. So he's not going to it, which, I don't know, to a degree you could say is true, probably true, but good win for Noah Lyles here. Behind him, though, Terrence Jones. Now, I'll actually circle back to Terrence Jones because I think he probably had the top performance of the actual meet in the men's 60 here. But Marcel Jacobs was interesting because in the actual heats of the men's 60-meter dash, Marcel Jacobs originally did not qualify. He ran 6.69 seconds. And then we did see the top 5 guys move on to the final. Udori Onwuzurike, he ran 6.66. But apparently Onwuzurike, he was injured, so he wasn't able to continue on to the final. One thing that I think is, I don't know, it's so weird. It was weird, but I understand why. They're only taking 5 men to the final, men, women, 60-meter dash, hurdles, whatever it may be. They're only running 5 of them in the final because, and I'll put a picture up on the screen here, they're using the outside lanes for the athlete intros. So in previous years, they would use this kind of banner thing or this entrance thing that they would have to put up and then take down, whenever they were doing introductions before the races. But they're no longer doing that, and they're just using the outside lane. So I think that's why they're using the 5 lanes. But I think it's kind of, I don't know, to be honest, it's kind of dumb where you're only using 5 lanes. You're pushing all of them in lanes 1 to 5 as opposed to even putting them in the middle just for athlete intros. From my understanding, that's what it is, but I don't know. They should have just used all 8 like they've been doing in previous years. But regardless, Marcel Jacobs, he eventually does move on to the final because Udodi was injured. And Trayvon Bromell, he runs 6.63 in the heats as well. But again, in that final, we saw that both of them, Marcel 6.63, Trayvon 6.64, not too great of performances. I don't know exactly why, but it is what it is. Let's talk about Terrence Jones. Terrence Jones, to me, had an amazing performance in this 60-meter dash. In the heats, he actually dropped a really pretty good performance of 6.59 seconds, okay, behind Noah Lyles' 6.55. And then in that final, for him to drop 6.57, now, that's not a groundbreaking performance. That's not a legendary time or anything like that. It's not 6.45, his personal best from the past 2 years. But this is his first major professional competition. He competed at the Olympics last year, but remember, he was injured for most of the outdoor season, so he really didn't have a great end to the 2024 season. He, of course, did go professional, signing with Adidas. So for now, him to kick off the year running 6.57, that is a good indication to me that he's going to have a very, very positive trajectory as we look forward to 2025. In my opinion, along with other guys like Kashane Thompson, Oblique Seville, Latsili Taboho, and a couple other guys, right? I think that Terrence Jones has a lot of upside and has a significant amount of talent that is really untapped in this moment, and he might be able to really start to unfold. Now, he'll have to take this performance and then start to build on it. I don't know if he's going to run a lot more indoor races, but outdoors, definitely keep a lookout for Terrence Jones. Pretty good race overall for the most part. Noah Lyles, he did the whole, on his bib, it said Tyreek could never, or Tyreek would never, whatever it is. Yeah, I know me, I've maybe spoken about it lightly. I'm probably not the best fan of this whole, track and field versus football. It's not that entertaining to me at all. Like, but, and I don't know, I'll probably talk about it. Maybe me and Coach Rob will talk a little bit about it. But let's move over with the women's 300 meters. This was probably my next highly most anticipated race, where Julien Alfred, Dina Asher-Smith, Julien got the win. This is probably my prediction. I thought that Julien would get the edge, but she got a pretty strong win, 36.16 seconds. You can see that last 100 was tough. It was really tough coming around that bend down into the home straight, but she pushed it through. 36.16 actually moves her to number 15 all-time indoors in the 300-meter dash. So really strong performance from Julien Alfred. On the broadcast, I think Otto Bolden mentioned that Coach Flo said that she's probably going to be running a lot more 400s this year, probably to build up that strength for the 200. Seems like she has a lot of things locked down when we're talking about the 100, but in the 200, when you're going up against a Gabby Thomas, when you're going up against, Sharika Jackson returning, when you're going up against these other ladies who have a lot more strength coming from maybe 400-meter backgrounds, Julien Alfred is really going to have to step things up there. But Dina Asher-Smith second in 36.87. Though it says a personal best here, it's not her personal best. Her personal best is 36.77 seconds. She ran it in Albuquerque last year, but World Athletics didn't have that meet on the calendar, so it didn't count. I don't know, for whatever reason. But shout out to Julien Alfred, amazing performance. But let's talk about the men's 400, where we did see Quincy Wilson really kind of, I don't know, he low-key kind of dominated this field. 45.66. ahead of Will Sumner, ahead of Jareem Richards, ahead of Zakithi Nene from South Africa. Quincy Wilson really dominated. This is a U18 world record. He had the previous record at 45.7, which he ran last year, but improves it by just a little bit. That also keeps him as one of the top U20 athletes all time. He has 3 years, 2025, 2026, and 2027, to still compete as a U20 athlete. So he has a lot of years to go. And to take down a very strong field like this, and this was competitive, where Zakithi Nene, he actually led the field through 200 meters and for the most part through 300. Jareem Richards was giving him a good challenge, but then Quincy Wilson, he took the lead and walked away. This was a very strong performance, and then I don't know, I'm excited to see how Quincy kind of continues coming off that loss. He actually said it in his post-race interview with Lewis Johnson, saying that something happened to me a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to make sure that I worked my butt off and I showed what I was about. So shout out to Quincy Wilson and getting the win here in the men's 400. Really great performance. The men's 300, this was a good race overall as well. We saw Rai Benjamin, he took the win, 32.21 seconds over Vernon Norwood, 32.39. It was very close kind of in that last curve, the last 150, 100. Vernon looked like he might be able to challenge, but, for the most part, it was pretty close. We're only talking about 1800ths of a second. So Benjamin, Norwood, Matthew Bowling, he was also kind of in the mix, 32.82. A personal best for them all around, but strong performances for the most part. Nothing too crazy overall. Women's 60-meter hurdles. This was a high-quality race in my opinion. Masai Russell, Grace Stark, Devin Charlton, Akira Nugent, Christina Clemens. Russell gets the win, 7.80 seconds, improves on her season's best of 7.89 from a couple weeks ago. Not too far off the world lead of 7.7. Grace Stark, though. So Masai Russell had an amazing start. Right from the block, she was out and she led the field. Devin Charlton was really close behind, but then Devin started to fade just slightly, while Grace Stark, she went crazy in that second half. To get that 7.81, very, very strong performance for her. And then Devin Charlton, 7.85. Of course, Akira Nugent did have the, kind of flinch. They gave her a green card, so no one got a false start, but, she has to kind of maybe pick things back up. I think she did hit a hurdle. All these women are going to be back at Millrose next weekend, so we're going to see them all running it right back. But men's 60-meter hurdles. Grant Holloway, this is the Grant Holloway show. He's on his 11th year of, undefeated in the 60-meter hurdles. No one came close, but Freddie Crittenden with his second place 7.54. Really, really disappointed to see that Trey Cunningham kind of hit a hurdle and unfortunately wasn't able to finish the race, but hopefully he's able to pick things back up. It'll be exciting to see if he's able to kind of rebound after the up and down 2024 season where he didn't make the Olympic team. But Grant Holloway, he is the man of the hour. Nothing too crazy in terms of his times, right? 7.42. It's not even close to the 7.3, which I think is the meet record from last year. So women's 60-meter dash, though, I did like what we saw with the women's 60. Again, only 5 women ran in the final, but Jason Sears, 7.11 seconds to get the win here over not too crazy of a field. Destiny Smith-Barnett, Celera Barnes, Zoe Hobbs, Makai Briscoe, but 7.11 for Jason Sears. This, to me, shows that she is getting into some serious form. She's really getting herself back up after injury from last year. Again, that injury at SECs took her out, coming off that 10.77, which she ran earlier in the season. Jason Sears is going to be a force. I really think that she's going to be a very strong force as we continue through the indoor season, and also as we look towards the outdoor season. Yes, the women's 100 meters is stacked between Sha'Carri Richardson, between Melissa Jefferson, TT Terry, Tamari Davis, right? All these women are in the mix. Aaliyah Hobbs. It's a deep field, but Jason Sears, 10.77, that's nothing to slouch at. And this kind of proves that she is not to be forgotten. She is not to be forgotten. Now, it's not hitting her personal best of 7.0 seconds that she has from a couple years, might be last year, I think. But listen, she's getting there, and she's a pro now. Jason Sears, I like where she's at right now. So, last shout out I do want to give is the women's triple jump with Jasmine Moore. Nothing too crazy, but 13.89 meters to get a win here over a decently strong field, right? You're talking about Foster Kata, who jumped 13.84, gave her a little bit of a run for her money, but Jasmine Moore starting things off with a win. Very strong performance that I do like here. Now, since it's a New Balance Indoor Grand Prix, very quick recap just to talk about some of the performances. I'll probably talk a little bit more about, some things in depth. There was a couple interviews. Definitely check them out on Sidious Mag's YouTube channel that, a couple guys got while they were up in Boston. I don't know. I wasn't too impressed by the meet. I definitely maybe had my expectations a little too high, but I did like seeing a lot of these top athletes getting onto the track, putting down some great performances either to start their season or to kind of continue on with the indoor season. Now, we won't be seeing a lot of these athletes actually going to the World Indoor Championships, but for those who do, they're going to have the opportunity to maybe win a medal and then propel themselves to a very, strong start to the 2025 outdoor season. But next weekend, we're going to be in New York City. Well, my home, New York City. Millrose Games going to be another highly competitive event. We're going to see guys like Marcel Jacobs and Trayvon Bromell back. We're going to see the women in the hurdles, and that's going to be a larger field. None of this kind of 5-lane situation that they had. We're going to see a full field. So let me know what you thought about the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Do you think that, especially something like the 60-meter dash, where we saw Noah Lyles, Marcel Jacobs, Trayvon Bromell, did that race matter? Or do you think that a lot of these guys, specifically Marcel and Trayvon, are going to be able to bounce back next week at Millrose and kind of continue on, a lot stronger than what we saw here? Do you think that Noah getting the win here, maybe not as fast, does that matter? Or do you think that, he's also going to be in a good position to kind of continue on through the season? And any other performances that you really thought stood out from the 2025 New Balance Indoor Grand Prix? Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be back again next time. Thanks for watching, y'all.